Hey everybody, I'm Melissa.
And I'm Tyson.
And we are down in the historic Lakeview neighborhood. What are we doing here, Tyson?
Well, today we're hanging out with Heritage Regina. Ashley Stone is joining us. She's going to show us around, give us some of the history. Regina's got some sweet old houses, and we really want to appreciate the architecture behind them.
So let's welcome Ashley.
Yeah, Ashley, you're here. Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
Oh, so cultured. All right, let's go check these places out.
Let's go.
Let's go.
So we are out in front of the Doll's House. Ashley, tell us a little bit about this property.
You bet. It was built in 1928. It is Century Gothic style, and you can tell that by the split shingles that cover the outside of the house, as well as the gable roof that is steeply pointed, which is actually best for colder climates.
So how did it come by the name The Doll's House?
So it was actually built for Isabel Lockhart, and her dad, William Van Egmond, built it for her for a wedding gift, actually. And the other side of the family, the in-laws, bought them a car because they owned a car dealership, so William Van Egmond built her house to kind of set them off in the right foot. And here
It sounds like some one-upmanship.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to give them a house. All right, I got a boat.
Exactly.
All right.
So super interesting, and you can tell by the pink, the white, it's very dollhouse looking. It's also called the birdhouse, some people call it, just depending on who you're talking to.
It doesn't seem like there's any other houses like this in the city. It's the one
No,
of a
this
kind.
is very, very unique. And the Century Gothic, it is very, very interesting because it is built for colder climates, which is great for Regina. But Van Egmond built a lot of prominent houses and buildings throughout the city, which is pretty interesting as well.
Cool. So Ashley, I've driven down Albert Street so many times, and there's always so many houses that I want to check out. This is definitely one of my favorites. Tell us a little bit about 3118 Albert.
So this is a very interesting house. I refer to it as the Moose House, which I'll get into in a little bit here.
Moose House.
The Moose House. So William Mason had this house built, and he is an alderman, and he was an alderman for 8 years. He was with the Canada Permanent Mortgage Organization, and then he was mayor.
Sounds like you're making that up.
No, I swear it was in the books. And he was also the mayor from 1925 to 1926 of Regina.
So Ashley, you said it was called the Moose House. Why is it called the Moose House?
The Moose House, super interesting. So the house, the living room itself was actually built around this moose that they shot in New Brunswick and had it taxidermied, brought back to Regina, and it was so big that they had to build the living room around the moose. It was so large. So it's super interesting.
Yeah.
But
So this house was built a long time ago. Has anything changed, or is it kind of the same as original?
You bet. So it was built in 1913, and in the 70s, it was actually changed into a boarding house after it sold from its original owners. So what they did is they actually removed the entire center staircase, and before it had a very rustic appeal to it, so it had wood paneling and leather-like wallpaper throughout the whole interior, but they actually changed it to make more of a boarding-style house. So they took out this gorgeous, beautiful center staircase with the big bandstand across the side and made it a little bit more small and functional for its new use.
So Ashley, this is my absolute most favorite house on Albert Street. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, you bet. It was built in 1912, and it's known as the McCallum House for Edgar McCallum, who was the original owner of the house. And he had the house designed when he first brought his real estate company out west.
So when Mr. McCallum built the house, how much would it have cost?
So in 1912 it was $30,000, which is crazy to think, but inflation, $30,000, but with inflation that'd be around $700,000, which is actually pretty reasonable considering the size of the house and the amount of work and detailing throughout the entire building. So
it's amazing.
Great question.
Yeah.
So we're here on McCallum App, and this home is an English arts and crafts home. So Ashley, tell us a little bit about the family that was living in it.
Yeah, you bet. So it was actually built for Lewis Rounding, who was a land developer here in the city. And unfortunately in 1914, he was killed in the First World War, but his wife continued the legacy of the home and continued to live here. And what she did was actually turn it into a gentleman's boarding house, which was very formal. She made sure that every single person who came to dinner was formally dressed before coming to the table and suffered the consequences of no dinner if they weren't properly attired. So
I think I'm going to institute that in my house.
Absolutely.
I like it. I like it. So as far as the cost goes for a house like this, what is this one running?
So this is built by the Rounding Land Company, and it was actually built for $15,000.
What?
Crazy, right? And so, which is about $650,000 in today's inflation rate, but still $650,000 for this prime location and the amount of lot size, it's insane.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Heritage Regina. What do you guys do? What are you about?
So Heritage Regina, we're a nonprofit volunteer board. We've been running since 1977, crazy enough, and we do a lot of things throughout the community. So we're doing heritage walking tours in the summer, which run every single Saturday, which is pretty interesting. We've had record turnout and numbers this year, which is amazing.
Every Saturday?
Every Saturday.
Did not know
From
that.
June until August, we run our tours, and then we're also running a winter lecture series. So there's different topics that we'll be talking about, whether that be cultural heritage or infrastructure, little things that really have an impact on our community that have really made us who we are today.
Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, anytime. Thanks for having us.